This shot
gets it in. Brown takes a shot. Oh, my goodness!
From Jaylen Brown to tie the game was from 30 feet out, the exact distance of the proposed new 4-point line. In the future NBA, this shot would have won the Celtics the game. Without a 4-point line, Boston lost in overtime. Just how radically would a 4-point line change the game of basketball? Would a 4-point line be good for the NBA? Players already shoot from 30 feet over 1,000 times per year. Would adding an extra incentive for deep shots make basketball unwatchable?
Outrunning him too. That rarely happens. Trae Young, whoa! Talk about distance.
Jordan Poole would love it because a 4-point line would put him closer to the baddies. But some coaches would never use the 4-point line.
I'm just hoping that the league ends up with a 4-point shot or a 5-point shot so we can make it a real circus.
Just like some coaches resisted the 3-point shot in the 1980s. What if we told you the success of the 4-point line would live or die with an aging Steph Curry? Here is what would happen if the NBA put in a 4-point line next season. How many shots are taken from 4-point range? The 4-point line would be 30 feet away from the basket. Why 30? Data scientists have found that anything shorter than 30 would make the shot worth too much, and any deeper than 30 would make the shot not worth taking. The NBA 3-point arc is only 23.75 feet away from the basket, and only 22 feet in the corner. 30 feet is nuts. The average American male could lay with his feet at the 3-point line and his head wouldn't reach the proposed 4-point line. How many guys are actually shooting from that distance?
Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining!
Here's where we need to be careful. Searching for all shot attempts greater than 30 feet in the 2022-23 regular season would include half-court heaves at the end of quarters.
Morant, good!
We don't want those. They skew our numbers. We're looking only at voluntary deep 3-pointers, shots attempted from between 30 to 35 feet out.
Puts it up, bang! Steph Curry from way downtown!
In the 2022-23 regular season, there were a total of 1,332 shots attempted from between 30 to 35 feet away from the basket. There are over 1,200 games in an NBA regular season, meaning that we saw these 4-point shots on average about 1 time per game. 1 time per game? If you were looking down to subscribe to the channel, you might have missed the 1 4-pointer.
That was what? No, you have to have the 5. Oh my gosh! What is happening? Vlatko Čančar hits it.
Many of the 4-point attempts were taken by the same shooters. There were 5 sharpshooting guards who took 25% of the league's 4-point attempts in 2022-23. Damian Lillard, 102.
A triple. Got it in the foul!
Trae Young, 71.
Lets it go!
Oh! Jordan Poole, 53. LaMelo Ball, 52.
That's what I'm talking about!
Steph Curry, 51. These shooters are amongst the league leaders in 3-point attempts per game and have permission from their coaches to also let them fly from 4-point range. Most players don't have this luxury and would get benched quicker than a kid playing musical chairs with no music. Take away the 4-point attempts from Dame, Trae, Poole, LaMelo, and Steph, and we're left with barely over 1,000 attempts last season, 1,003.
Shot off. Wiggins to Poole. Poole gets it off in time. Oh, he banks it in! He banks it in!
That's .82 attempts per game for all players combined. The average basketball player just doesn't shoot from 30-plus feet. It would not change their game if there was a 4-point line. Remember Larry Bird, Larry Legend, the great 3-point shooter? Even he didn't attempt a lot of outside shots at first.
So somebody stops it. Here we go!
If Bird ain't shooting from deep, do you really think average shooters like Zach LaVine or RJ Barrett are gonna let them fly from 30 feet? Very few players can actually hit from that range. The league shooting percentage on 4-pointers in 2022-23 was 29%. Remove the shots from Dame, Trae, Poole, LaMelo, and Steph, and it was 27.5%. Newsflash, most NBA coaches are not about to let their players attempt a shot with a 27% success rate. They just aren't. But wait, wouldn't players start practicing these deep shots more if there was the incentive of 4 points? Wouldn't we see a ton of them every night if the rule was changed? Whoa, hold your horses. The change wouldn't happen as quickly as you think. NBA teams were extremely slow to adopt three-point shots in the early 80s. We need to take a lesson from that.
Back to Irving, sets himself from behind midcourt. It's off there, he made it!
How quickly did teams adopt the three-point line? There was no three-pointer in the NBA until the 1979-80 season. Chris Ford of the Boston Celtics made the association's first ever three-pointer in the Celtics season opener. Ford was 1 for 1 from downtown that day. His Celtics shot a total of 3 three-pointers in the contest. Ford's teammate, Larry Bird, was 0 for 1 from deep. That's right, Larry freaking Bird, the 3-time winner of the NBA three-point contest and the poster boy for shooters in the 80s, shot 1 attempt from deep the first day it was available to him. Across basketball that day, only 6 players attempted multiple three-pointers, and 4 of them played for the Houston Rockets. The three-point line was not an instant hit, unlike our channel, which slaps. The Rockets attempted 10 shots from downtown as a team in the very first game the three-pointer was instituted. Who were they playing? The Boston Celtics. Boston won 114-106 with their measly 3 three-point attempts. Who was this crazy Houston coach allowing his players to shoot so much from the new three-point line? Dale Harris. This was Harris's first season as the head honcho in Houston, and he was all about experimenting with the new shot. The problem, though, his Rockets sucked. Harris's Rockets took 4.6 three-pointers per game in 1979. This was the 3rd most in basketball. The San Diego Clippers took more three-pointers than Houston, but they sucked even worse. You know who was also right up there in three-point attempts that first season? The Boston Celtics. That's right, Boston may have beaten Houston in that opener, but Celtics coach Bill Fitch stole the Rockets' game plan and began implementing more three-point shots into his offense. By the end of the season, the Celtics were launching the 2nd most threes in the association and riding that shooting to a league-best 61-21 record. Surely people were hopping aboard the three-point bandwagon after this, right?
This is a three-pointer.
Nope. Boston got run off the court by the Philadelphia 76ers in 5 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. Philly attempted the 5th fewest three-point attempts in the league that year. The 1980 NBA champion, the Los Angeles Lakers, attempted the 2nd fewest threes. All of the old heads said, "I told you so, three-pointers don't work." This was a crushing blow to the momentum of the three-point shot. All of the high-volume shooting teams either missed the playoffs or were defeated decisively in the postseason. The Lakers won the championship with traditional back-to-the-basket play, led by their 7'2" center, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and their 6'9" point guard, Magic Johnson. Many coaches gave the three-pointer the benefit of the doubt in 1979 and tried to implement it into their offense. But after watching the postseason, these coaches abandoned the new shot. Three-point attempts per game league-wide fell from 2.8 per game in 1979 to 2.0 per game in the 1980-81 season.
Cutter gives it up to Bird for 3. Got it!
I'm sorry, I meant to get it up by 10.
The 4-point shot would face similar resistance until a team finally had some success with it. Not until 1984 would three-point attempts rally. But once the three-point rally started, there was no stopping it. What prompted the increase in popularity? The Boston Celtics finally won a championship in 1984.
Boston 111 and Los Angeles 102.
Larry Bird was the MVP and ranked inside the top 10 in the league in three-point attempts. Boston had proven a team could be elite even while taking those newfangled three-point shots. It caught on. The Celtics dominated the latter half of the 1980s, and Larry Bird was the ambassador for the three-point shot. So, who would be the NBA's 4-point ambassador today?
Deep 3.
It would have to be someone good at shooting deep shots who plays for a good team. Do we have anyone like that? Could Dame Lillard or Trae Young popularize the 4-point shot? Forget highlight shorts and promotional videos. If the 4-point shot is to catch on in the NBA, a team is going to need to experience real success using it. It would take a championship.
A deep one. Truth!
Damian Lillard took the most 4-pointers in the league in 2022-23. Could he be the modern-day Larry Bird and popularize the new shot?
Made a three. Oh, dead solid, perfect.
Dame took 102 4-pointers in 2022-23 and hit on 32.4% of them. That's actually really good. In the history of the NBA, no player has attempted more would-be 4-pointers than Dame Lillard, 509. He'd be the perfect candidate to usher in the new shot were it not for one thing. His team sucks. The Trailblazers finished 13th in the West each of the past 2 seasons. Portland hasn't been past the first round since 2018-19. Dame could shoot the lights out from 4-point land, but he'd be nothing more than a sideshow attraction if his team was in last place. What about Trae Young? We said Lillard has taken the most 4-point shots in history. Trae is second. He shoots it at a slightly lower success rate than Dame, but is still very good, 32.4%. The Hawks are a little bit better than the Blazers, but are they good enough to convince stubborn old coaches that 4-point shots are worth taking? Remember, some of these old heads still aren't quite convinced that 3-pointers are worth the risk, and still think a woman's place is in the kitchen. No, Trae Young doesn't win enough to spark a revolution. The person we're thinking of has already ushered in a new era of basketball. It's kind of his thing. He does spend a lot of time with his girl in the kitchen, though. The Warriors would abuse the 4-point line if the NBA adopted it.
Step three. Got another one! 18 in the quarter.
Steve Kerr and his Golden State Warriors team would absolutely abuse the 4-point line if it became a reality. The 1980s Celtics may have first popularized the 3-pointer, but the 2010s and 2020s Warriors modernized it and molded it into the form we see today. Those Celtics teams might took 7 3-pointers in a game. The 2022-23 Warriors took 43. Since the beginning of the 2013 season, the Warriors have taken the 3rd most threes in the NBA and have hit at the absolute highest rate of over 38%, 38.2%. In that same span, they've taken over 650 would-be 4-pointers and hit at an amazing 32.3% clip. Steve Kerr has no problem whatsoever with deep shots. Sorry, Trae. Sorry, Dame. But if anyone is to popularize the 4-pointer and make it explode like the 3-pointer did, it's the Warriors. Steph Curry took 51 4-pointers in 2022-23, the 5th most in the NBA. Put in a 4-point line and this number would shoot up like Jordan Poole's dick around baddies. The Warriors already shot more from beyond the arc in 2022-23 than any other NBA team. They wouldn't even have to change their offense much to incorporate 4-pointers. Despite taking so many 30-footers, the Warriors still managed to rank 10th in offensive efficiency and 3rd in total points. How is that possible? Could you imagine how unstoppable this offense would be if they were awarded an extra point for those deep ones? The 4-point line isn't coming anytime soon, though. The Warriors just traded Jordan Poole to the Wizards for a washing machine.
I traded away our washing machine to get him. He punches and bunches.
There's no way they'd part with one of the league's best deep-range shooters if there was serious talk of a 4-point line. Don't worry, basketball purists. You're safe from the 4-point line for the time being. Instead, check out our other videos and enjoy some classic basketball highlights while you still can.